On the edge of a storm-battered coast where the salt wind never learned to rest, a retired lighthouse stands behind a chain-link fence, its windows frosted white with years of mist. Every day, the waves hurl themselves at the breakwater, as if trying to reclaim the land or shake loose what's been anchored too long. In the shadow of this old sentinel, Jonah works quietly. His rasping sandpaper keeps time with the sea's restless rhythm as he shapes a plank, smoothing away splinters that catch the memory in his hands. Once his wife painted lighthouses, bright towers standing fierce against the horizon. But since her passing, Jonah has turned away from these beacons, letting their light fade from his gaze. He believes some things, once broken, shouldn't be mended. Not far from him, Mira, a teenager with paint on her jeans and hope in her fists, finds herself drawn to the lighthouse like a moth to flame. She tags its base with a bold, bright star, a splash of color defiant against the salted gray. The town grumbles, muttering about kids these days, about respect and the fading of tradition. But for Mira, the lighthouse is not a tomb. It's a canvas aching for new stories. The town council assembles in the echoing hall, voices thick with opinion and pockets thin with resources. The debate is fierce. Tear down Old Star, the lighthouse, or restore it to its former glow. Jonah sits in silence, resisting calls for sentimentality. He doesn't want a tribute to the past. He wants to avoid the pain of things that can shatter twice. Mira, on the other hand, stands up for color, for possibility. She wants a beacon that doesn't mourn but welcomes. In the end, the council's decision is dictated by the budget. A fence goes up, marked with stern, no trespassing signs. The lighthouse waits, walled off from hope. Then one night, a storm sweeps in, Walden uninvited. The wind tears the fence down, flinging it like a challenge. Mira snaps a photo of the lighthouse standing naked to the sky, a single star shining on its base. She posts it online. Let it shine. The image travels further than she imagined, and soon a city foundation offers a modest grant. Just enough to restore the lamp, but not the tower itself. Jonah reluctantly takes the job. Inside Old Star, he discovers a time capsule left by keepers long gone. Faded logbooks, a brass compass, and a poem about light's gentle duty, guiding ships without judgment. Mira, now permitted to paint, begins to cover the shaft's interior with constellations, her own map of hope. Jonah, at first annoyed by crooked stars, finds himself helping to straighten her lines, his carpenter's eye lending steadiness to her vision. Under his square and level, Mira's spray grows more precise. Under her colors, Jonah's grief softens, less rigid and more alive. The day arrives to wire the new lamp. The town gathers on the bluff, faces upturned in anticipation. Thermoses steam in the cold, folding chairs creak, and a tinny speaker hums with music. Children dart between legs, their laughter rising like bubbles. Jonah, hands trembling, flips the switch. Old Star hesitates, then blinks awake. Its beam slices through the dusk, and the crowd erupts in cheers. In that moment, something inside Jonah cracks open. A feeling unnamed, neither sorrow nor joy, but the release of something held too tightly for too long. Across the crowd, he sees Mira wiping tears away, and they share a nod that speaks more than words. A week later, a letter arrives, carried by the salt air. A cargo captain recounts how, during the storm, their radar failed, but the strange painted light of Old Star gave them a bearing, steering them clear of the shoals. Jonah reads the letter twice, hands unsteady. He copies the words into the old logbook and writes his wife's name in the margin, a quiet tribute connecting past and present. The council, sensing opportunity, proposes moving the lighthouse into the town square to attract tourists, to make it accessible. Engineers shake their heads, declaring the plan impossible. Jonah calls it foolish, unwilling to see Old Star uprooted by profit. Mira, ever inventive, suggests, if it has to move, let it walk. She sketches a parade, rollers and jacks, ropes and hands, an entire town hauling the tower inch by inch. The plan is outrageous, but its beauty lies in its audacity. Moving day dawns uncertain. The weather shifts, wind gusting fierce and unpredictable. As the crowd gathers, ropes go taut around Old Star. A jack slips, and for a breathless moment, the lighthouse lists dangerously. Jonah's heart thunders with a fear as old as loss, the dread of loving something that can fall. He remembers the promise he made to himself, never to hold too tightly what can be taken away. Mira, sensing his panic, grabs his elbow and meets his gaze. "Look at me," she says, voice steady as the earth. "We don't have to fix the wind. We just have to hold together." The town resets, breathing in time with the waves. Heave, breathe, heave, breathe. Hands that have never met before join on the ropes. Families and strangers alike bound by purpose. The lighthouse inches along the street, every movement a triumph, every setback a test. People on balconies weep openly, others laugh from sheer nerves. When Old Star pivots onto its new foundation, the sound is not the roar of a stadium, but the harmony of a choir, a collective exhale, a shared victory. That night, Old Star shines over market stalls, bus lines, teenagers weaving through the streets, and old men hunched over chessboards. Tourists take their snapshots, but it's the locals who linger longest, faces upturned, marveling at the light they once thought belonged only to history. The lighthouse is no longer a relic. It's a living part of their town, walking with them into the future. Jonah returns to the service room and hangs his wife's final painting. 2 lighthouses, one on land, one at sea, both shining. He opens the logbook and writes, "Light cannot be buried. It learns to walk." Mira, with careful reverence, spray paints a comet and a small, respectful star beside it. The lesson settles on the town like dawn after a storm. You don't have to remain where you were struck by loss. Light moves with you, finding new places to shine, new hands to carry it. And sometimes, even the oldest beacons learn to walk.